Well, welcome back to another edition of the Brothers-in-law. I'm your host tonight, Corey, and I'm with my co-host, Mr. Michael Bradley. Those of y'all who are new to the channel, Mike and I are both former law enforcement officers. I was a state trooper here in the great state of Virginia, and Mike is a retired 26-year veteran out of Pleasanton, California Police Department. So welcome everybody. I see Goat and Tone on there. Hey, Stacy, and see popping on. A few others going to log on here shortly. But before we jump in tonight's topic, we'll go ahead and ask everyone to take a brief minute to go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button for us. And so we can get this part two of how to stop a school shooting out there in the social media world, if you will. We decided to do a second topic on here because there was a lot more information that had came out, and so this is one thing Mike and I always talk to our viewers about. You gotta hold on and just wait because this information is very fluent, and it's always more to what we. Hey Meg, what's up, girl? We ain't seen you in a while. We missed
Hey
you.
Megan, what's going on? Hey
Welcome,
Tone, I
welcome.
see you.
So this is why we say, hurry up and just wait. Don't rush to judgment so fast. So how do we stop another school shooting from happening? This is part two. If you missed last week's, I think I already put it in the link down below. If not, I'll check it out the show. Make sure we get it in there. Hey, Katrina, welcome. Mike, more information's come out about this school shooting. As you and I, before we started the show here, we were talking about the gear this young man had, the killer, the monster. Uh,
Yeah.
he had 1,600 rounds of 5.56. So if you got your calculators out, let's go ahead and tally this up.
You got me writing down already. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah,
1,600 rounds, man. I mean, that is not, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I've actually purchased ammunition, actually, to tell you the truth. But 1,600 rounds in one purchase for the first time, that seems like a whole lot of rounds for somebody to purchase at one time. If that's what happened,
but there's no way he purchased that ammo in one visit. I mean, you can't tell me, and especially I think, and Goat, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you as a citizen, there's only a certain amount you're able to buy. Then you have to have a special license to buy a certain amount, a big amount like that. That's a lot. You
yeah,
can't tell me a lot of red flags went going off in these guys' head.
right. I mean,
If I mean, he had to have done that over time.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking because as we were talking before we started, I would think that maybe even for somebody who didn't go and buy rounds often,
What's up,
I would
Blackjack?
say maybe about 500 rounds maybe would be a normal purchase for ammunition. And as for somebody who probably hasn't purchased ammunition doesn't do it on a routine basis or a regular basis, maybe 500 rounds tops in one purchase, maybe. But
Yeah.
1,600 rounds that's a lot. That's a lot. And on top
So
of that, two rifles.
yeah, so Goat already beat us to the punch. That's about
See,
$700 for
seven
just a
hundred
thousand.
bucks for 1,000
For a
rounds.
thousand. Now,
And
mind you, folks, this is an 18-year-old kid, right? So we're at just I'd say, all right, roughly $1,000 for. Well, it's gonna be a little over $1,000 for ammunition. Now, for these so-called high capacity rounds with magazines, which is a lie. There's no such thing as a high capacity magazine. Magazine just holds 30 rounds. There's nothing high speed about it. He had to have had, and they were fully loaded, So 30 rounds in each one. So that's roughly about 55 magazines he had.
55 magazines. Where was he carrying all this at?
I'm assuming, and y'all viewers correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he had a backpack or a satchel with him, but even still, it had to be a big backpack he had.
It had to be a heavy.
I mean, 55,
you know what I'm saying?
He had an old school tote bag, gym bag we used to have back in the day when we carried our books in school.
Something. I mean, 55 magazines. 55 magazines. And everybody, I'm sure our viewers know what a 30 round out here in California, 30 round magazines are illegal. You're not allowed to buy 30 round magazines, but basically it's like a what they call in the movies a banana clip. Okay, that's what they used to call them in the movies, a banana clip. That 55 of those, and not to mention, Corey, we talk about the price of the bullets, the rounds. What about the price of the magazines?
$12.
$12 a pop for a magazine. So you add that in there. I mean, this kid was armed to the teeth, which will point to the argument, Corey, that should he have been able to go in and have this much stuff at 18? I'm gonna throw it out there.
Again, he didn't. This was over a period of time. Hey, Mom, welcome.
Hey, Miss Taylor.
He did this over a period of time. This is not like he went in one time. See, my problem with this is this kid didn't do this alone. Somebody had to help him because this is a couple of years worth of buying small here and there, and so that you don't raise any red flags on yourself. In my humble opinion, I think he had to have help. Somebody was buying this for him, or because another thing I found strange with this is that I couldn't find any news article that mentioned the gun stores he allegedly bought these guns from. Now, I know media, we know how they are. If they knew where he bought those, the shop where he bought those guns, they would have doxed that store out. I mean, we would know where it was. They'd had the Google map up of it already. I find that kind of shit like, okay, you say he bought this stuff legally, but you don't even mention where he bought the stuff from, the store. So to me, that kind of, all right, what's going on here? How come we don't even know that? But on top of that, then you get the two AR-15s. I think they're both very expensive. I think one was like $2,300, and the other one was roughly about $1,700. I mean, that's a lot. And like I said, he had the Glock, I'm sorry. Let me back up. He had a 9mm handgun, which I don't know what make and model it was. So that could be another, let's say $600
on the low end.
On the low end, maybe.
For the price of guns today, I would say $600 is probably out here in California, $600 for a pistol is on the low end.
Yeah. So Blackjack, you could go in there with a couple of people and divide up the lot that way. You could, but again, a lot of that hasn't been disclosed. If he did, as of right now, only thing we know is he acted alone in this. So, again, we're all speculating, but as this is still evolving, it's not adding up. It's not making any sense whatsoever.
What does make sense? Well, none of it makes sense at all. But
good question.
We go. Let's switch gears up a little bit. I'm gonna switch them up a little bit. So now let's get into the police response. Now I know there's a lot of stuff coming in and out, and I wanted to hold off on my opinions and comments about police response to something like this, and because I wanted to see more information too. I wanted to see who would come out, what would come out, and I think enough information has come out that I think I feel comfortable making have an opinion on what they should and should not have done. You know what I'm saying? Now, Corey, everybody know police officers. I would be shocked today if there were police officers in this field who had not had some kind of training on active shooters. Whether it's a school, whether it's a mall, whether it's any high populated area, we've all had some kind of training on active shooters, right? Now, this Uvalde Police Department, it's my understanding they have 6 officers in the whole department. That's what the department is made up of, is 6 officers, apparently. The big elephant in the room that I think a lot of people are talking about today is the delayed response of these officers going in. And I do want to cover that because as citizens and as police officers, it's easy to say what you think you would do in a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to throw out coward, the word coward. I'm not going to throw out you were afraid. I'm not going to throw out all those comments like that. I'm going to just look at this strictly from my level of experience and training in dealing with something like this. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I think every officer would like to think if somebody is in this school shooting up kids, we all like to think we're going to run right in and target the person who's doing the shooting. I believe I would do that. Corey, you believe you would do that. We all believe that that's something that we wouldn't have any issue doing. If I'm getting shot at, right? Well, I'm gonna take that into consideration, because let me be clear, ain't no officer gonna run in on a suicide mission, because if I get killed, who else is left? Who's supposed to help you? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but if I'm starting to get shot at, I'm gonna find another way in, or I'm gonna find this. These are the things that I'm thinking that I would do that I don't hear explanations from the police who responded to the scene, whether they did or not. I mean, right. I'm finding another way in. I'm finding another angle. I'm going to break a window. Are there windows to this classroom? Can I go around where this classroom is and break a window and try to target the shooter?
You're going to find another entry point. You're going to find another entry point. Right. And I think, and I kind of get where you're going with this about that article, whether or not an officer has the duty, it's their duty to go in and rescue somebody in a gunfight. And my humble opinion, we know what we signed up for. Hey, Joe, welcome, brother.
Hey, Joe, I hear you. And I hear you, Joe. And that's why, let me preface this by saying that based on what I've seen so far, and like you say, there's a lot of information in the media. I don't trust the media. You can never come to solid conclusions from the media. I mean, I would love to hear some kind of after action report from the Uvalde Police Department, actually from all the agencies that were there. And if anybody has seen an after action report, whether it's YouTube, usually you see them on YouTube, let us know, because I would love to see that. That's what I'm waiting. Hearing stuff from the media and what you hear from these average citizens, there's a lot of information that people who were not there are coming up with their own speculations and conclusions, and you just can't go by that.
And that's why I'm saying, that's why we always say, hey, we have to wait. Let's wait,
right?
Because,
and that's why I'm not going to throw out words like they were cowards or they were afraid. I'm not going there. I'm not going there yet. If that was the case, well, that should be addressed. And I think any officer who is confronted with that kind of situation and realize that they freeze up and couldn't get in there or didn't want to go in there, I will say that they need to probably reevaluate the choice of career that they have. If that happens,
I will hold up on saying, because again, that's something we don't know. We don't.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know,
and that's not. I mean, we're speculating as it is, but I'm looking at what I know from myself, what I just looked at, and what they're trying to tell us as a time frame was supposed to be. Like my main, I don't want to say focus, but my main thing was raising flags for me is how this kid get all this stuff at 18 years old and supposedly working at um, a fast food restaurant making minimum wage. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of money,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
we make decent money in our past professions, and I don't got all this. You know what I mean?
Well, like Joe was saying, I know you going there, but like Joe was saying, it is as an officer, it is very hard for me to believe that they just stood outside like the media is trying to get you to see. It's
well, like
hard for me to
Mike,
believe that. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I would love to see an after action report or something that better understands what happened. Yeah, I saw the interviews from the.
but Mike, that's what I'm saying. It's a matter of what media source you're listening to, because I want to see in here. Okay, what was everybody's assignment? Who was first to respond? Who got the call to the school? Where did they go to? Right. Of course, everybody's going to go to the school, right? It would happen here. Everybody's going to go to school. Not every officer on scene is going to rush inside. That's not how it works. You don't need 50,000 officers in the school and then everybody goes in guns a blazing. You're going to have more people injured and killed than need be.
I hear
So
you.
you're going to have some officers outside securing the perimeter. You can't have like we spoke about last week. You can't have the family rushing inside the school. I'm not even going to say that because it just doesn't make sense to me that these guys just purposely stand out here and not do anything. Another news source that I read said that the cops did go into the school, but they could only advance so far because the young man the monster had the hallway barricade, and he was barricaded into a room or a closet himself because he was jumping out the closet, putting off some rounds, and getting back into the closet. So somebody made entry in there. Now, again, like you just said, you're not going in there and wanting to get hurt and killed yourself. So everything's going to be tactical. You're not just, let's go, fellas, we're going in. You got to go in smart. You got to go in.
Okay, now there we agree. I mean, you're going to be tactical, but nonetheless, as an active shooter, if you have the opportunity to go in, you will go in. You're gonna go in. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna address that threat. Now, let's think of it as if me and you getting this call, Corey. Okay, we getting this call.
We got the call.
Active shooter at the school. All right. Now let's walk through what would be on our minds and what you think we would be doing. Okay, active shooter at the school. First of all, when you get that, when a police department gets that call, that's going out to every officer. Every officer and anybody with a gun, that's going out on the radio for them to hear. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we are all responding to that school. That's the first thing. Now, in some communities, it might take you 5 minutes to get there. Some communities, it might take you 15 minutes to get there. Depends on how far the school, where it is in the city, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? So we're rushing to the school, all right? So that's the first thing. Now, when I get to the school, I'm trying to quickly assess what's going on. Is there an active shooter? Do I hear shots being fired? Are people running out the school? Are people coming to me telling me that there's somebody in there shooting? You see what I'm saying? Those things come into play too. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to walk people through this so that they can get an understanding of what an officer might be thinking and doing in this kind of call, in this kind of situation, what a patrol officer would be thinking. Okay. So we're hearing these things. We're seeing what's going on. We're listening for fire. Do we hear shots being fired? Because, folks, let me tell you, an active shooter is strictly when you hear someone in there that's actively shooting someone. If they're not shooting, then it's not an active shooter. Okay, it might be a barricaded suspect. It might be someone in there with hostages. The dynamic and the situation could change in the blink of an eye. You see what I'm saying?
Very fluent.
Right? So let's assume that I hear gunshots inside a school and I know that there's somebody in there shooting, and you got people running out of the school saying, hey, there's somebody in there shooting, right? So first thing I'm doing as an officer is I'm entering that school right away, as soon as I can. Am I going to wait for a team? Me personally, no. I'm not waiting for a team. I'm going there to address that threat. If I'm fortunate enough to have a team with me, great. We're all going in to address that threat. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's me personally. Okay. Proper equipment. I have my vest on. I have my pistol belt. I have my gun. We carried AR-15s in our patrol car. Okay. We also carried less lethal beanbag shotguns in our patrol car. I understand that maybe not every department across the country has those things in their patrol car, but we were an agency where we were fortunate enough to have those things. Okay. We didn't all carry a ballistic shield in our patrol cars, but it was readily available by the supervisor's vehicle if we need it, usually. You see what I'm saying? That's where it was. So I'm going in with what I got. Okay. If I'm hearing kids being shot inside the school, this is what I would do. I'm going in there to address the threat. Now, Corey, you and I both know there could be 100 variables that come into play. Okay. Did the guy barricade himself inside a classroom? Do we know where this classroom is? How long is it going to take us to get to that classroom? You see what I'm saying? Okay. Is he shooting at the moment? Okay. Did he just stop shooting and now he's a barricaded suspect somewhere? That could change the dynamics of this whole situation. You see what I'm saying? But I'm rushing to where I believe I hear this gunman firing off shots, right? And I'm going to try to take him out. Now, what if you get to the school, the classroom, and now it's completely barricaded, right? You have, as a patrol officer, somebody had mentioned to me, well, why didn't they use a what we call a key, a batarang, basically, right? Well, all patrol officers, we don't carry batarangs in everybody's car. That's for the SWAT team, stuff like that they might have that. Okay, not every patrol car has that. Okay, you communicate what you see, what's going on. There you go, Joe. Joe, for our viewers, Joe is someone who has actually instructed active shooter training. Okay, so thanks, Joe, for chiming in. These are the things that I'm looking at when I'm there. But there's a lot of variables, like I was saying. If I'm getting shot at, right? If the suspect starts popping out of the classroom, starts shooting at me, well, clearly I'm not going to run right into for him to shoot me, right? I have to tactically try to approach, take another angle, maybe come another direction. These are the things that happen that I think citizens need to understand, that it's not as simple as just, oh, I'm going to run in and get them and take them out and that's it. You see what I'm saying? Now, a lot of information came out. We don't know. I don't know who to believe, to tell you the truth. And like I say, I would much rather have to see an after action report from the specific agencies that responded to this. And it's taken a while for that, but sometimes that happens. But you got anything to add to that, Corey?
No, I mean, the way we were trained is along those lines there. If you're first on scene, typically you have to assess the situation before you gain entry into it, and to communicate. That's the big thing with the other agencies, so they know, and everybody's training is very basic. We all get the same kind of basic entry training, so that no matter, if I'm with other state police officers, we going, I know the training they had. I know they know how to enter school. Or if I'm with a local PD or county guys, I know the training that they've had on gaining entry into a school, or whatever we're trying to gain access to take down the threat. So we all had that basic knowledge in that. And the big thing is letting them know what side of the building you went in on, so that they
Yeah,
know that's the side to come in. It,
right.
I'm with Joe. I'm not going to be so quick to say that these guys are cowards. Um, I'm not going to really believe what the news media is saying, because we do know that they all lie to us. But we have to look at what we know, and based on our experience, at that, to me, that just doesn't it doesn't sit well. That's what they're saying. Are they trying just to push agenda? Because we know the president just finished a uh, briefing this evening, uh, addressing the nation about his new. Uh, I don't know what he's trying to do, but trying to establish some new gun laws, and talking about guns. Are you trying to push this agenda? I mean, how come nobody's talking about this kid? Where this kid got these weapons from? Who purchased them for him? They say he did. I don't know. Let's start working the details out. I mean, I want to see, like you. Let's see the 911 calls in. Let's see the dispatches uh, tapes to see, who said what, who got the calls, where everybody said, and about what about body cameras, Mike?
Yeah,
Nobody's
that's
mentioned
another
anything
question. They
about
have
body
body
cameras.
cameras.
I
Uh,
mean,
I had seen on, it was one of those news channels where they claimed that the classroom was barricaded. The suspect had barricaded the classroom or locked the doors in some kind of way to where officers couldn't, initially anyway, couldn't access the classroom. So that's something else that people got to consider is you can stand and kick that door all day. If you don't have breaching tools and things like that to open that door, you kind of stuck. So you gotta there's gonna be some time that you're gonna have to with someone to come with breaching tools, batarang, whatever it is, to get through that barrier, that classroom. I just want people to think of all the other possibilities, all the extra things that can come into play before they jump the gun and say they just they were cowards and afraid and didn't want to go in. Now,
or
again,
the police acted stupidly. You mean, like
yeah,
somebody else had said before all the facts came out?
there you go. For all the
I'm just
facts came
saying.
out. So I don't know. Like I said, and if it was a situation where they were afraid to go in and they didn't go in, okay, I'm there with you when I say yeah they should have went in. You see what I'm saying? Ain't no reason to stand outside and wait for this and wait for that. If you actively hear shooter inside and you have access to be able to get in that place, okay. But
Now,
you know,
here's the question, Mike. Here's the question. And Joe, you chime in on this as well. Are police obligated to rush in to save people in a gunfight?
you bring that up. One of our viewers,
If let's hear the viewers' response as well. Are police officers obligated to rush in any type of situation, building, school, to save the lives of people being shot? Are we obligated to do that?
there was
Oh,
an
go ahead, Mike.
article. There was an article from I got it on Yahoo News, who sent us from one of our buddies from Fort Worth Star Telegram, and it's titled "Are Police Required to Protect People During Mass Shootings?" And the legal answer is no. Now, I'm not going to read this article verbatim. You guys can go and find it if you want and read it for
I'll
yourself.
put the link. I'll put that link down and below so they can go to that article.
Sure, it's a lengthy article, but it's a good article. So if you get a chance to find it and you get a chance to read it, go check it out. It's titled "Are Police Required to Protect People During Mass Shootings?" And the legal answer is no. It's off the Fort Worth Star Telegram. I got it off the Yahoo.news or Yahoo News. So basically, the article talks about legally, officers are not required to go in and uh how should I say? They're not required, they're not legally obligated to put themselves in a position where they can be killed, basically, to go in and stop an active shooter. Now, the article doesn't sit well with me, and it probably, I'm sure it doesn't sit well with most officers. That's why I don't want to go too much into the article. You guys can go and read it yourself. But no police officer gets into this job with the thought process of, I'm not legally obligated to go and save your life if I possibly can do that. You see what I'm saying? There's no officer goes into this job with that mind frame. We all go into this job understanding that we might have to risk our life to save somebody else. We understand that. We all understand that. We all understand that there might be some times where, if we are unfortunate to be in that situation, we might be getting shot or getting shot at, and we might have to do A, B, and C, regardless of the danger that we're facing. So, just so we can clear that up, when you guys go to this article and read that, don't think that officers are getting into this career thinking that they are not legally obligated to protect you. That's not something that's even enters most officers' minds. Now, I don't know every officer in the state of California, I mean, in the United States of America, across the country, but I can feel pretty comfortable saying, if you're getting into this job with law enforcement, you are not thinking like this at all. You're thinking that I'm gonna run into the school and I'm gonna save these kids, or I'm gonna run into this mall and stop this threat, or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? What do you say to that, Corey?
Yeah, well, you just like in the military, you sign up to go to war. Your primary objective is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's what you signed up for. And the same thing with police. You sign up to support and defend the Constitution not only of the United States, but the Constitution of your state against all enemies, foreign and domestic, of your state. So that means that although you're not legally binded to do those things, it's your how do you want to say it? As an American citizen, I feel like it's your duty to go do that. If you take that oath and swear to uphold the Constitution, then I expect you to run into that building that's on fire to get people out, or go into that school that's being shot up. I expect you to do that. Now, just like in combat, though, we had guys that scared to go and get into the gunfight. Do I think any less of them? Maybe I do. Am I gonna call you a coward? No. We're there to do a job. I expect you to do your job, man. You signed that dotted line, you raised your right hand like I raised mine, and we both took that same oath. So when you sign up, you know what you're getting yourself into. All that other stuff, the health benefit, that's all extra. That's all extra. Those are incentives, right? That's not why you signed up. No, you signed up to fight and die for this country. I did 21 years, put my life on the line for this country, and damn it, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And my wife probably wouldn't let me put the uniform at the police office again, but I had to do some midnight ops while she's sleeping, put the uniform back on and get out there. But it's in the blood, right? And if you don't understand that and you don't believe that, then you need to find another profession.
Yeah, I agree. And another thought process, how everybody wants to say what they would do in a situation like this. I mean, I used to see something on one of these social media sites. I would always see something that says, it was a saying that says, everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster S-H-I, you know what I'm saying? Until it's time to do gangster stuff, right?
Yeah.
As an officer, as I would like to think that if I'm faced with any situation, I would have the courage and to do what I have to do in the face of danger. I was in the military and I was been an officer for 26 years. You know what I'm saying? I've never had the mindset of being afraid to the point where I freeze up and can't do my job, can't do what I'm supposed to do. Now, I'm not,
Yeah, but
don't get us wrong,
that's
folks. I'm not
see,
saying that that's what happened with these Uvalde officers. I really don't know. I wouldn't know.
here's
You know what I'm
Mike.
saying?
That's what training is all about. You train, so you don't get yourself into that. And to answer your question, Zach, Zach says, let me ask you both this: if a school was under active shooter and you were driving by, cops hadn't arrived yet, you're armed, what do you do? Uh, I as me being an officer or no longer an officer, I think if I'm no longer officer, then
Yeah, I think
um,
he's mean now. Like I'm retired, and you know,
right.
because and the police
I
hadn't
would
arrived
probably
yet.
I would probably still go over there. I would try to see what I can do. If the police hadn't got there, yeah, I would probably try to gain entry to try to find some. I would try to see where the perpetrator is, because we got to kind of we're walking that thin line there, right? We're not supposed to have guns on school property, but then here you go, because the police don't know who the active shooter is, so I'm not really sure I'm going
There
to take
you
off
go.
running into the school
To,
unless I'm on the phone with dispatch and like, hey, what I mean? I'm a black guy. I
yeah,
got
I
this.
mean, there are things we got to consider, but yeah, to answer that question, I think it's pretty easy for me. If I happen to be driving by a school and I'm armed and I actively see and hear someone shooting inside that school and people yelling, screaming, yeah, I'm gonna probably go in there. I'm gonna get on the cell phone as quick as I can, dial 911, and I'm gonna tell them who I am and what I'm wearing and what I look like, and I'm gonna try to give them some idea of where I'm trying to go in at. You see what I'm saying? That way, officers who are responding know who I am. They know what I look like. They know what I'm wearing, and obviously they would know whether I'm armed or not. So yeah, I would. But if I wasn't armed,
To your point, Zach, yeah, I would too. I
yeah,
definitely would go in there. Now that's different. Now you have more of a reason
right.
to do it.
Now,
All
if I
right.
wasn't armed, I can't say I wouldn't go in there, but I would definitely be a lot more careful confronting an armed suspect. I might be able to try to go and try to get some other kids out of the school and help
Yeah.
that. I might do that. But confronting the armed suspect who's clearly armed and I'm not, a stick ain't gonna get it, a rock ain't gonna get it. Okay. So that's a suicide mission right there. I ain't going on no suicide mission. That's not smart. It's not smart for anybody. You see what I'm saying? So
Goat said,
that's my feeling on that, Zach. To answer your
Goat
question.
said, Goat said, put on a glow belt. Now, the only people who get that is my fellow army men and my Air Force people, because they everywhere they go they had to have a glow belt.
You mean the PT? I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
So we would always make fun of them. So that yeah, go put a glow belt on.
Nah. Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
this Uvalde shooting is horrific. It's terrible. It's horrible. You know, did the officers make some mistakes? Maybe, I don't know. Apparently, there's more information still yet to come out. Like I said, I'm sure there's going to be an after action report coming out from each agency who responded. You know what I'm saying? There's still some timelines that I'm not sure of. You know, I think most of the media and people want to just believe that officers stood outside for 40 minutes or so, just with their twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the next instruction while there was an active
arresting
shooter in.
parents,
Yeah,
arresting
while there was
parents
an
trying
active
to
shooter in the school. If that happened, I'm shocked. But the officer in me just it doesn't make sense. That doesn't sit well. That doesn't add up to me.
I
You know,
did see photos of officers detaining um, parents. They had them down on the ground in handcuffs. I did see pictures of that. Um, Again, it's still one of those things. Like you said, it's one of those things you still have to get there and wait. Like I said, I need to see dispatch reports. I need to see um, body cameras to see who did what, who went where, who was left outside, who went inside. Again, is it all people just trying to push that agenda because they're trying to really enhance the gun laws?
Well, I will say I
Hey,
did
welcome,
see a
Monty. Thank
quote.
you for joining us, brother.
I did see, well, what was reported as a quote from one of the officers on the scene from the Uvalde Police Department, who had actually made a statement. Uh, Now it says like, because I guess their chief or whatever the correct term was had told them to stand down
I heard
before
that.
entering. I heard that.
I
And
heard
one
that.
of the quotes that this officer from the Uvalde police said was, he said, "We felt like cowards. It felt cowardly to stand off and let this punk, this kid, this 18-year-old just go in and do whatever he wanted to do." There was a lot of arguing, a lot of cussing, a lot of people who were saying that we should just say F it and go in. But then what? We needed to have a plan, and the commander didn't have a plan. Now, if that is an accurate quote from one of the Uvalde police departments, I apologize, but that's what was reported as as a quote from one of the Uvalde police officers who were on the scene. Um, Listening to that quote, it sounds like maybe there was a lack of training. Again, I'm assuming here. I don't know. I would love to see an after action report. I'm just giving an opinion on what I'm seeing on some news channels about this
So
incident.
I seen or read an article where I think it was like a couple weeks before this tragedy happened that these guys actually went through an active shooter training.
Hmm.
So
So
again,
that should tell you if they did that, and if they stood outside and waited while there was an active shooter in there. Well, definitely goes against the training. You see what I'm saying? Whatever
exactly.
that goes
Do
against
you
what I
not
was
feel
trained on.
confident enough? I Again, like I said, we're speculating the situation Sunday,
we're
but
speculating,
again,
and we
we have to look at what we know,
right.
and go off of that, and then like we always say, keep an open mind. This information is fluent, we can't jump to conclusions, and we can't just sit here and just say, oh, it's the gun's fault. No, it's the person behind the gun, the person pulling the trigger.
That's
It's
true.
their fault, and now we don't need to be divisive as a nation on anything. Again, like we talked about last week. Okay, schools are soft targets. What do we do to make these things not happen again? Right? We need to harden the schools. It's not time to place blame. Again, all that to come out in the after action report. And then if the ball was dropped, Mike will figure out what the consequences will be for them. Who needs to be fired? Who possibly needs to go to jail? We need to protect the schools. We did it after 9/11, right? We secured the airports. The president is secured. The governors are secured. Has a security team. We stars. You go to the Oscars. There's security everywhere for Hollywoods. Uh, Everybody gets security except for the schools. So what I said last week, I'll say it again this week. We, the people, do not have to wait for Congress to make a decision. The only thing they're gonna do is f everything up again, right? It's the little things that we, the people, can do to help secure these schools. One of the things I mentioned last week is as parents, if you got a day off from work or whatever, or if you can spare an hour, get up an hour early and go to your child's school and just walk around the school, get to know the school resource officer. He get to know you so that when they know you're walking around, they're not going to call and question you. They know why you're there. It's little things like that that we can do. It's a deterrent. There's, I don't know how many retired veterans throughout the country and former veterans that would, you call us up, right now and give us an AR, or shoot, give us a pistol, we'll happily go stand outside of school for a couple hours a day to secure the school. And I guarantee, god dang on to you, a lot of these veterans would do it for free. Like, you ain't got to pay me to do it. All you just get, hey Corey, can you come do this for it? Yep. If it's to save the kids, yep, I'll be right there. You don't even have to give me again. I'll bring my own. Right? Lock the doors. There's a lot of things that we can do. I'm talking about as parents. The schools do their things, lock the doors, get better security systems in there, things of that nature. But as parents, we can do this too. We don't have to rely on the goddamn on government. I wish people would stop putting their faith in government and put your faith back in God first and foremost, and put your trust in your fellow Americans that we're gonna go out here and we'll handle this stuff. You wait on the government if you want to. Nothing will get fixed, right? Let's take action. That's your call to action. Let's do something. Let us know down in the comments below, what are your ideas? What would you like to see happen? And let's make something happen.
Now, me and Corey, we are two different officers. We're two different officers, two different people. We like that on our show. Either we agree or we don't. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want to make something clear. I'm not anti-government. Corey's not anti-government. No. But what we're saying is there are things within our power that we can do that we should take advantage of. You see what I'm saying?
I think Mike froze up a little bit.
Did I freeze up a little bit? So,
yeah, you're good.
We try to stay away from the politics of it. But when it comes to policing and a police officer's response on something, whether or not they should have done, me and Corey are pretty much on par with that, with the exception there might be some differences because every officer handles a call differently. You see what I'm saying? But in general, we're going to be pretty much the same. You guys, do what you can. Hold off. Well, some people are going to hold off on judgment for these officers. Some are not. And that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I just personally, we like to make sure we have all the information. We can come on and give an opinion based on what we have at this point or what we think we see at this point. But keep in mind, this, like Corey was saying, this is very fluid. There could be more stuff coming out from now on. I'm still waiting. Again, as I said 2 times before, I'm waiting on an after action report from the actual agencies who actually responded to something like this. That way you can really get a picture of what's going on. But people, something like this is very chaotic. Everybody wants to be a warrior until it's time to do warrior stuff. Everybody wants to sit on social media and something and call out cowards and this and that. And like I say, I don't know. I wasn't there. If some things happen that they're saying happen, then yeah, I would say, yeah, if you were afraid to go in and do something like that you were supposed to do and you had the opportunity to do it, well, you probably should think about a second career. I ain't gonna call you a coward, but I'm gonna say you probably should think about doing something else. You see what I'm saying? Because when confronted with a certain situation, you didn't have it in you to do something. If that was the case, I don't know. Okay, that's why in most officers that doesn't sit well with most officers, thinking that somebody just sat outside twiddling their thumbs. That just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to Corey. We've all had training on active shooter stuff, and that just doesn't. When you start seeing stuff come out like that, it's almost unreal. Okay, so I'm just waiting on some kind of after action report, and if it comes out, we'll come back on and do another show and look at our after action report so we can see for sure what happened out there. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, do what you can to protect yourself, protect your kids within reason, within the legal aspects of it. We ain't telling nobody to go out there and do something stupid. Okay, Corey and I, we ain't doing something stupid, and you shouldn't either. Want to make that very clear. Okay.
No,
But you
what
know,
I'm saying is, you as a parent, you have power too. You're not powerless.
right, that's true.
Obviously, when we talk to you all, we're talking you doing things in a legal manner. Like I said, you can go to the school and show your presence, walk around the outside of school. I'm not saying going inside of school, and making a presence known. You see something there, make the call to 911. Don't you try to go and be a superhero yourself and get yourself hurt or killed. But
Right.
there are things that we can do. We don't. I'm not saying, not definitely not anti-government, but it's things that we can do. We don't always have to. Yeah, that's the name of it, Blackjack. It's called Dads on Duty, and I think it started
I've heard of that.
in Louisiana. Dads get together every day, and they go walk around the school and walk inside the school. They help, break up fights and things like that. But that's something they worked out with the school. Again, those are things that you could do. You don't have to take up arms or anything like that. You can't do that. You can't bring guns on school property anyway. So, but there are things that you can do uh, to ensure, our schools are no longer soft targets. And then the school has its inherent right to do things to make sure that the school is secure with metal detectors. All doors are locked except for one point of entry. Until school is out, then obviously you can open up the rest of the doors. If they can get more security in there, more resource officers there, great. Again, like I said, I'm a big proponent of getting these vets, using these vets, retired guys and guys that did 4 or 5 years in the military, getting them. A lot of those guys are looking for purpose still, right? And they would jump on that in a heartbeat. I know it. And employ them through the city and send them through some training, get their recertification with weapons handling, and get them in the schools, working with the school resource officer. It's things like that. We can do this. But if more and more you see what my problem is, you see what the politicians are doing. They're trying to want to just control the guns, the guns, the guns. They're not talking about the schools. They're not talking about how we make the schools safer. Let's what we talk. What are we doing to save the kids in the schools? Right? You didn't hesitate after 9/11 to fortify the airports, making it hard as hell to try to get into an airport. You didn't wait on that, but we're waiting on the kids. I have a problem with that. That's my issue, Mike.
Well,
That's
we
my
know
issue.
why. That's because they're using the gun argument to say that's how we protect our schools, is we take guns away. That's how they're trying to do
Yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying? I
criminals
mean,
don't obey law. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break people's hearts, but
true,
criminals aren't going to obey your laws,
true,
right?
true.
There's a situation here in the city of Portsmouth. Shooting happened a few weeks ago, I think it was. Uh, Kids 17, 18 years old. They're prior convicted felons. They don't care about your laws. They laugh at us because they know it makes it harder for us, the people who are going to go do it right. It makes it harder for us to obtain a weapon. Criminals aren't going to abide by that law.
Now,
So
that being said, gun rights, gun laws, all that stuff, that's a very open-ended argument and debate that we will forever have in this country. Now,
forever.
I'm a gun owner. Corey's a gun owner. I don't have an AR-15, but I'm sure I'm sure other people across the country do. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, but I am a gun owner. So it's just something that will always and forever be argued, whether or not people should have guns. And I don't have any problem with gun control, actually. I just don't want you to say I can't have a gun, period. You see what I'm saying? I mean, more background checks. Okay, I ain't got a problem with that. You want to do background checks? Oh, that's fine. I don't mind if we look at things that will try to weed out someone who is mentally ill or someone who might have the mental capacity to do something crazy like shoot up a school. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that can be, I don't have a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? you can give me all kind of 21-day wait. You know, I hear you, Zach. 21-day wait periods. I'm fine. Whatever. Just don't tell me I can't have a gun. Period. That's my problem. You see what I'm saying?
But your pushback from that is going to go to the Second Amendment, where it said you shall not infringe, right? You can't.
Yeah, but doing a background check on
regulate
somebody is not infringing on their rights.
Well, you're making the progress longer. I mean, I don't care about background checks.
That's fine. I mean, I really don't care. If I bought a gun,
see, that's the thing. That's the thing, Mike. You and I, and everyone on here that I know that has weapons aren't going to go out and do it. The thing is, what do we do to stop the criminal? The criminals, the ones going to do it. Now you have these guys like this guy here and the guy in Buffalo. You'll have those people like that who will have loose screws and still be legally bound to purchase a weapon. I mean, if that's the case, too, and a lot of people are saying too, hey, we'll raise the gun age to 21. All right, well, you can't join the military at 18 no more. Then you need to raise that up to 21, right? That, I mean, where you raise the drinking age to 21.
Somebody made a good comment on one of them social medias. They said, I can't go into a store and buy 2 boxes of Sudafed because they think I might be making methamphetamine with it. But I can go in and get 2 rifles from the gun shop if I wanted to, AR-15s from the gun shop with no questions asked, just a background check, whatever is required, and that's it. Good point. But at the same time, you know, again, I personally, we personally, I don't have any problem with gun control to the sense of ensuring that someone has the right mental capacity to have one. You see what I'm saying? But like you said, Corey,
I mean,
like
okay,
you said,
so
Corey,
we're all a day from losing a screw.
that's that's
right?
Exactly what I'm trying to say is like what you just said.
I'm not saying
you could have somebody who was fine to pass a background check or a mental health thing,
right?
And they get a gun and they go off the deep end. You see what I'm saying? Or they could already be off the deep end, but have all the right stuff to make it through those background checks. How much of a background check can you really have to ensure someone is mentally sane enough to own a handgun or own a rifle?
Right. And you ain't going to make, but again, and those will probably stop some, right? But again, if somebody has in their heart and on their mind that day to go and do some killing, they'll find another means. Look at the Boston bombers. We're not sitting out here talking about banning pressure cookers, are we? And the pressure cookers blew up and killed how many people and maimed how many people, right? Timothy McVeigh, what did he do? Had a moving truck full of explosives and blew up the federal building in Oklahoma, right? We didn't go start banning moving trucks, did we? 9/11, dudes hijacked plane, flew in there, killed 3,000. We ain't banned airplanes, right? There are things we can do, but I think we got to be a criminal is going to find a way to kill. If he doesn't have a gun, he's going to pick something up, or she is going to pick something else up and still deliver a massive blow to whatever they're going out to target. We just need to make these targets, these schools, harder to deter them to wanting to attack a school. That's what we need to do.
I agree. I mean, like you say, criminals, I think there's a misperception from some citizens that if we have more gun control, then less criminals will have guns. I don't believe that. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe that the more gun control will equal less gun possession by criminals. That's what we're really talking about here. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that at all. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Miss Taylor says raise the age person a gun to 21 like you can like you do alcohol and stuff like that. Okay. I don't even have a problem with that, tell you the truth. Yeah, the argument is, well, at 18 you can join the military. You see what I'm saying? So why can't you purchase a gun? Um, Somebody would have to make that argument. I don't know, but I don't even have a problem with raising the age to 21 if that makes you feel better. You see what I'm saying? Um, I technically didn't purchase my first firearm until I was 24 years old, but I've been exposed and have had access to firearms pretty much all my adulthood life because I joined the military at 18, right? So you know, it's an argument that I think, Corey, we will always have in this country. It will never go away. But you got to be careful. Look what Canada's doing. Canada's taking pretty much all guns away. When you say no more rifles or handguns,
And they can
okay,
do that because they don't have a Second Amendment
they don't
right.
have a Second Amendment. But that's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
So we had I think it was yesterday, police officer got shot down here. And the police did not shoot back. Shot him several times. All right. This guy was a convicted felon. He just got out of jail 30 years. Convicted felon, still got a handgun. What law would have stopped this dude from doing it? So whatever he was going to do that day, and then stole the police officer's vehicle on top of that. So I'm just saying we can have that gun argument, but it's not going to be focused on the people who really it needs to be focused to the criminals, right?
Yeah, I hear your
We
argument
have
that
laws
gun
on the
control
book.
will affect more legal owners than it will illegal owners.
That's my point.
And that's why I say I
point.
believe that's a false perception that you can think that limiting guns is going to limit the possession by criminals. You see what I'm saying? Again, though, Corey, that's going to always be argued. I mean, I do understand that you got to come to some compromise somewhere, but the question is where will that compromise be? You know what I'm saying? And as long as we keep saying as long as we got the Second Amendment to say that this, that, and the other, you know what I'm saying, you will always have the argument that, well, it's all right to have guns. Then you'll always have the argument to say, well, yeah, it's your right to have guns, but we can tell you what guns you need to have and what guns you don't need to have. If there's, you know what I'm saying, there's got to be a compromise in there somewhere. Now, I'm pro-gun in general. I'm pro-gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm a gun owner. Most gun owners are pro-guns. You see what I'm saying? But it's one of those that is just up in the air for me. I mean, there are a lot of things that I don't mind.
I hear you,
gun
bro.
control. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of arguments. I don't think we'll ever really come to a conclusion. And if we do come to a conclusion, it's only going to be a conclusion that makes someone feel better. You know what I'm saying? Make someone feel better. I don't think
I
it's
think
a conclusion that's going to actually make a difference.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at with it now. And the point is that when these guys have it on their mindset to kill, they're going to kill no matter what the law is. They're going to get their hands on it. You got illegal guns still coming through the borders wide open. The cartels are running that stuff through here, drugs, everything. My problem is we have laws on the books. Let's start enforcing those. Make it harder on these guys, these convicted felons that end up with guns back in their hands. And again, I had a situation a couple years ago. Arrested a guy, had a 357 Magnum on him. He had just got out of jail a couple months prior before, and now he's gone again. Right? Convicted felon, got a gun. I mean, no law stopped him. He didn't go to a gun store and got it. It was a stolen gun on top of that, right? And that gun was stolen 4 years prior to he got it. So it's no telling how many hands that stolen weapon was or was in, and the actual owner of the gun had reported it stolen. So it was gone. It got lost on the streets. And it just went from hand to hand. Somebody use, sell it, get it somebody else. Sell it, give it somebody else.
And keep in mind, no matter what gun laws you come out with, police officers will always assume you packing. We'll always assume you got a gun until we prove otherwise. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So keep that in mind when officers come in contact with citizens. We all going to assume you got one. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So because it's safer that way. Yeah, obviously. I'm assuming the worst before I work my way back and discover less.
You're right, man. We're still, no matter what your gun law is going to be, you're still going to have some type of a mass, not mass shooting. Yeah. And then you'll probably find other methods being used to create a mass casualty type of a situation. So it's still going to be ongoing. I think we just need to address the issue of the criminals. Then we look at the mental health aspect of it and address those two issues and try to get that under control and in line, because the criminals going to always get the guns.
And I know this is probably another show, but California, I think's got a slightly different argument than the rest of the country, because California's laws are so strict when it comes to guns. For just the issue of a 10-round magazine versus a 30-round magazine. You see what I'm saying? In general, in California, you can't have anything above a 10-round magazine, basically. You can have 3 10-round magazines, but you can't have one 30-round magazine. You see what I'm saying? And I think it's a little different. I think a lot of people might, in my opinion, I think the real issue that these people who are anti-guns have with the AR-15 and rifles like it really is the semi-automatic function, okay? And the high-capacity magazine, or we call it a high-capacity magazine out here in California, which is the 30-round magazine. You see what I'm saying? And I, in my opinion, I think that's really what the issue is with some of these people who are anti-gun, is they don't like that function of being able to fire 30 rounds or as many rounds as you can as fast as you can pull that trigger. Now, if you made it to where it was, I don't know, like a bolt action rifle is 1 round, but you got to re-rack, you know what I'm saying, before you get another round going in there. Maybe a bolt action rifle, they're fine with that. Their problem is the function of a semi-automatic rifle. But again, Corey, like we were saying, okay, you take away AR-15s. What's next? Well, you got semi-automatic handguns. Take away, okay, we're gonna take away the handguns. Look, like I said, what Canada is doing. Take away the handguns. Okay, I mean, where does it end? You see what I'm saying? That's my issue with that. Okay, yeah, technology has, has grown. From the Second Amendment days, when the Second Amendment first came out, they were dealing with muskets. I understand that. Okay, they had no comprehension of what the firearms that people are dealing with today. Would they have wrote the Second Amendment differently or put something different in the Second Amendment back then if they knew what was coming? I don't know. Okay, all right, but I think that's what people have an issue with, is the functionality of a semi-automatic weapon, But that, it is what it is. A firearm, most firearms are semi-automatics nowadays. I mean, yeah, you got a lot of them that still, bolt action, shotgun, whatever it is. But most firearms are semi-automatics, and you pretty much pushing the envelope there. And like I say, where does it end? That's my issue on gun control. So, got a right to have a gun. I got guns. I ain't nobody taking my gun.
Right. You can try.
So, it is what it is.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We thank all y'all for joining us tonight, man. It was another great conversation. Hope you all share this out to your friends and family and get this conversation going and let them know, man, there are things that they can do. Just don't have to sit back and complain. Let's do something. We can handle some things at our end to make these schools a much harder target. So thank you all for joining us. Go ahead and before you sign out, y'all, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to us. If you're first time viewing the show, Zach, thank you. Goat, Mom, Blackjack, T-Dub, Katrina, Montel. Thank you all for joining us tonight, man. We love you and appreciate you guys. And we will see y'all next week with another video. There's something else out there cooking now. I'm sure some of y'all already heard about it, but officer involved shooting was it Oklahoma, Mike?
Kansas City, I thought. Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. It was in Missouri.
Kansas City, one of the Kansas cities.
Yep. So stand by. We might go live this weekend, talk about that one, or we'll wait till next week, depending on how much more information comes out. So y'all have a blessed rest of your week and a great weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. God bless you.
Peace out.